Welcome to Reveries from the Isle of Lewis. My name is Merdina MacDonald, and I'm the editor of my father's memoirs, Black House, God's House. I'm going to read a short clip from the book, but first give you some background for the reading. In my father's denomination, the Free Presbyterian Church of Scotland, they practiced communion twice a year, 5 days each time. People came to my father's village from surrounding places because the entire village of Skigista had chosen to split from the Free Church in 1893, making it both a historic and public hub of Free Presbyterian thinking. For several years, Angus's Black House served as a place of worship for his denomination, while a new church was being built in Lionel, about 2 miles away. This was when his Black House became virtually God's house, a time when his mother built a new peat fire once a week for the service, and he himself set up chairs. Among the pockets of believers that came from other villages for communion were those from Tolsta, 8 miles to the south. People came barefoot over the moors because there was no road linking the two places. Presumably they came barefoot because shoes would be ruined by the mud of the moors. Angus had worked as a teenager on the road from Skigista to Tolsta as part of Lord Leverhume's grand vision for an economic boom for the island. But when Leverhume left in 1923, discouraged by local objections to his ideas, this construction project was abandoned and the road was never built. To this day, there is no road linking the two places on the East Coast. Annie would meet these tired, muddy people at the door of the house, with a basin of warm water, soap, and a towel. She would proceed to wash the feet of the elderly, just like a scene from the Bible. At the Last Supper, Jesus had washed his disciples' feet to their astonishment, and admonished them to do likewise. It's clear from my father's recollection of his sister that Annie carried out this directive not only literally, as in this case, washing the feet of the elderly, but in all her dealings with people, acted with a loving servant heart, a clear reflection of her faith. My father's recollection is entitled Sister Annie. My hard-working sister Annie devoted most of her adult life comforting and looking after the welfare of the people of God. Furthermore, it was obvious by her attitude that with her it was purely a labor of love. She enjoyed being near God's people, and it was quite evident in her conversation and general relationships that she felt more comfortable in their company than a constant association with worldlings. This was clearly manifested at communion seasons when our old tie-do, Black House, was full of strangers who came from all corners to celebrate the Lord's Supper for 5 solid days twice a year. This was Annie's best 10 days of the entire year. She went all out to make sure that everybody was happy, comfortable, and well-fed. What makes this report so unique is the fact that she was the only one of the 4 women around me in my youthful years who did not openly confess her faith before angels and men. The other 3 were pious, praying people whose daily conduct gave clear evidence that they feared the Lord. However, it was left to Annie to serve like Martha of the Bethany household, but with a difference. Martha complained, Annie didn't. In warm climates, some Tolsta people walked barefoot across the 8-mile trek of moorland dividing the two villages, and much feet washing took place on arrival. Annie warmed the water, filled the basins, supplied the towels, and even washed the elderly, just as Scripture admonishes. As an expert cook, she also baked all kinds of fancy little scones for the occasion, and everybody enjoyed the 5 holy days of complete separation from the world, the flesh, and the devil. If you enjoyed this reading, you can find others in the book which can be purchased on Amazon.